we're here at the Arcadia intersection where work is taking place. It is part of package 6 of the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project. Package 6 actually starts right here. Package 5 being the stretch from Prospect to Arcadia. Now we're doing major work along this section leading into Golden Grove, which is part of package 6. Several sections of the road are being realigned, meaning we are taking out some of those corners. We are widening the stretch as we improve the road between Morant Bay and Port Antonio. Now these two packages, package 5 and 6, which is Prospect to Arcadia, Arcadia to Amity Hall. These run some over 15 kilometers of road and over $3 billion. What we are looking at doing, the project should run the entire Tranche 3 until sometime in early 2025. The pace at which we are now moving, we are really hoping to see the many aspects of this project completed before the end of this year. And so the Chinese are executing the works themselves. These packages are not being done through subcontracting, as the government has taken the decision to go this route, given the challenges that we have had with the other 10 packages under the tranches 1 and 2 of the S-chip, where work is actually still ongoing on a couple of the projects.
Residents have raised concern about some of the areas where they think are trouble spots, where there are landslides and so on. Can you assure us as to what will happen to correct the problem?
Well, we have taken on board the concerns. The consultants are going to be looking back at the plans, the designs for some of these areas, and we will certainly be giving to the residents no less of a corridor than that which they know are able to enjoy. We see where erosion is taking place in some areas. We know where they have concerns about flooding in some other areas. We are going to be constructing new and improved drainage features, and many of these have already been put in place, and so we are really intent on ensuring that the persons here in St. Thomas benefit in a significant way from this project, especially those persons on the eastern side, because much of the activities to date have been concentrated on the western side of St. Thomas. Now we are turning our attention fully to the east. We're now going to convene this community meeting having to do with Tranche 3 of the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project. And this is a project that you all know is ongoing right from St. Andrew all the way to Portland, and is touching and concerning the very important parish of St. Thomas. So the meeting is now called to order, and having done so, let me invite, first of all, to lead us in prayer, Councillor Dinsdale Smith, who we are going to be designating Pastor Smith this afternoon.
Shall we go ahead for prayer? Father God, we thank you for bringing us here safely. As we're about to discuss the business of the citizens and business of St. Thomas, be in front of us, be behind us, and top of us, around us. Help us to make good decisions. Help us to think about the next generation and the generations to come as we continue to build this great parish is my prayer. In Jesus Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Thank you very much, Pastor Smith. All right, so we have some very important people with us this afternoon to help us to share the information that we consider to be very important in the scheme of things. We want to make mention, well, let me first apologize for the absence of the Member of Parliament who has to be away. She told me she's traveling, so she cannot be here this afternoon. But here with us, we have, you would have heard from him before, the Councillor Smith, for this particular area. We have Mr. Malcolm McLeod, who's here representing the MP, Damian Anderson from China Harbour Engineering. We also have from Stanley Consultants Incorporated, Stanley Jamaica, it is Albert Gillings from Stanley's. He's one of the project managers out here looking over the situations on behalf of the NWA and people of Jamaica. We have you, the residents of, let me say, Eastern St. Thomas, who are here, and we welcome you. Members of the media, I see my good old friend from a long time, Cardinal Bedford. The Cardinal Sin, shaking your head. Right. And I want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out this afternoon. Have anybody come to school here?
The vice principal.
Vice principal is here. Okay, alright. I hope he stays around long enough. But we don't plan to be too long. I want to thank you for your patience in respect of this meeting. Without further ado, let me ask Councillor McLeod to come forward and bring greetings on behalf of the NWA.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As Sir Beckford announced, you always try to lead me as deputy mayor, but you know, it's a title that I just get, so I don't prefer it yet. All protocol observed, I must say, on behalf of the Member of Parliament, which and while absent, she asked me to bring greetings on her behalf. Most of we the people of Eastern St. Thomas are grateful for this opportunity of this project. This project would have been long awaiting, as we have said, that St. Thomas is for the forgotten parish. But we look at it and we see the west side of finish, we see the urban center is coming along. And then all we know is that the rest of Eastern St. Thomas. The good thing about it, what I love, and for the first meeting when Mr. Shaw stated that this we won't have any subcontractor in this side of the project, it is China Harbour. So I hope we'll get, and those enough people here is travelers to Morant here and know the problem that we used to face going on the stretch. So I hope all of that for sure would have correct, because you'll start so you know exactly where you can do the adjustment to suit the people. So once again, I thank you all for coming, and we listen carefully, and then don't afraid to shoot your question in the question and answer part, because they will have to answer to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor and Deputy Mayor. Now, let me see if I can help you with an overview of the project. So, the project, and in particular, Tranche 3 has been divided into 5 distinct packages. So when we started out with the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project in 2019, we had it divided into 16 distinct packages for management. So there was one that took into consideration the road from Harborview to Yallas, that's the 4-lane corridor in the main. Then we had 15 others to include the road from Yallas to Port Antonio, and that from Morant Bay to Cedar Valley. So there are 13 along the coast, and the Morant Bay to Cedar Valley is 2 packages. Now, for management, as I said earlier, what we did was to execute the works in packages of 5. So there was the first 5, then the second 5, and now this is the final phase of the CHEC. There are 3 packages in the parish of St. Thomas, and so we have the road from Prospect to Arcadia, then there is the Arcadia to Amity Hall, and then there is Amity Hall to where we have the Horse Savannah Bridge. That's on the border of Portland and St. Thomas. In Portland we have the other 2. Right? So you find the bulk of the activities taking place in the parish of St. Thomas over the next several months. Now, what we have as packages 5 and 6 are the corridors from Prospect to Arcadia and Arcadia to Amity Hall, which is that which is of importance to you in terms of immediacy. And so we're talking about roughly 15 kilometers of road, just over 15 kilometers of road that we're going to be widening. And it is not just a road project, it is road, light, water, telecoms, all of those things are being done as part of this overall program of works. We have along this particular corridor, in order to make for a more efficient and safer corridor, we are going to be doing some realignments in a few sections. We are going to be widening in some areas. So based on those plans, we are going to be having to do some land take in some instances. And so we'll have to do pole relocation as well in some instances. Within this package, or these 2 packages, I know we have at least 1 bridge that we have to build. The Lethal Bridge is going to be, there's a new bridge to be built at Lethal. As I said, so, and we have the telecoms things that we have to do. The idea is that we are going to be widening to accommodate 2 lanes of traffic, along with shoulders, hard shoulders in some instances, soft shoulders in others, as we try to improve the corridor. You are going to find that where we do cuts, we are going to have to do some benching, and what those of you who don't know what I'm talking about when I say benching, if you have traveled through Roach Gully and you see where the embankment has been cut and it looks like steps, that is what I'm referring to. That's called benching. Alright, so you're going to see some of that along the corridor here as well. In terms of overall cost, we're looking at between the two packages, 5 and 6, 2 rows I mentioned, the spend is going to be over $3 billion between road and water, because the water infrastructure is going to be improved as well. For package 5, which is Prospect to Arcadia, we're looking at between light and water somewhere in the region of $1.9 billion that will be spent. And for package 6, we're looking at about 1.6 or thereabouts between light and water. And as I said, the persons can expect significant improvements in terms of sight distance, in terms of maneuverability of the corridor, and critically, we have to ensure that we build some amount of resilience into the network, because part of the challenge, especially on this side of St. Thomas, the eastern side, is that, you know, a little bit of weeping starts by the big man upstairs, and a whole lot of crying happens down here, meaning it starts to rain a little bit in some instances, and you get major flooding and displacement. We are trying to see how best through the program of works we can mitigate the incidence of flooding in this space. And note I said mitigate, because I don't know that anywhere in the world, depending on the nature of the rainfall, flooding does happen. You saw recently what happened in Abu Dhabi when they got 2 years worth of rain in a day, and the whole place was flooded. I mean, no amount of drain building and all of that can mitigate that kind of rainfall. You just have to allow nature to take its course, and you do that which is necessary. But within this particular project, we are ensuring that certain amount of resilience is built into it. We've also designed, knowing fully well that this parish has a lot of aggregate plants, and you have persons hauling material with the heavy trucks and so on. And so we have to build something into that, into the design, to take into consideration those things. The issue of land acquisition is one that persons raise all the time, and there's a system, there's a structure in place that through which we treat with acquisition matters. So the National Land Agency, they are our key partners as it relates to us acquiring parcels or snippets of parcels for these kinds of developments. What I would say to persons is that make sure that you have your proper documentation, meaning your registered title, in hand, because that is going to be necessary. If it is that you do not have a registered title, there can be some accommodation made, but it depends on the nature of the tape. And so your best bet is where you have a registered title for the land. But even if you don't have it, it doesn't mean you will not get that which is due based on how the law is at this time.
I heard what you said, and I can see on your billboard there that you intend to do drainage improvement and river training. I am specifically asking about the river at Cotton Tree. Will it be desilted? Because it has not been in donkey's years. It empties into the sea, and the sea and the river is basically on the same level. You may be conversant with what happens at Brown's Gully in Morant Bay by the park. It's a similar situation, round by River's Mouth, we call it. It's always cleaned, but the river is silted up for years. The river is not running. Crocodiles live around there now. As a result, there's a feedback on the residents. The water has nowhere to go because the drains are blocked. Even drains that were along Swamp Road, that the water used to go through and go straight to the swamp, those are no longer existent, and houses and business places have mushroomed around there. So I don't know exactly what is going to happen there. So I just want a definitive answer, because if that is not a part of the works to desilt that river, because as I say, I'm a layman, I am not sure exactly what river training entails and all of that. I just want to be definitive that that area, the desilting of that river, has to be a major part of what is happening. Because there's a property also that used to act as a catch basin, right? Layman's terms. However, I know for a fact that water used to pond there, and it used to be there for ages until it dries out, right? Houses and business places have mushroomed there also. So that's along the verge going from Lantop going that way to Leaf Hall. So that also is a major concern for some residents, because the river is silted up, and where the water would normally pond is buildings are there now. What you find is that the water backs up on some people. The last time it took 25 days for water to clear in certain areas on Swamp Road. We had to be buying kerosene oil to throw in the water before eventually you could throw big stones in there and jump over it. Now, not everybody is an acrobat. Some of us are mature, and with maturity comes pain in the knees, etc. So we can't do much of the acrobatics. So I am really asking that this area be looked into as per se the drainage and the river, right, to be desilted, and so, because if it doesn't happen, in our lifetime, if it is going to happen in God's lifetime, then we're going to have to sing Abide With Me, Fast Falls the Evening Time for a number of persons, and this is not a joke. This is not a joke, because the water has nowhere to go. So it stays on the surface and builds up and goes into people's homes. We have nobody to complain to, so we just have to try to clean it out and say your prayers and go again.
All right, I hear your plea, Ms. Millicent. What I can say, I don't know the area. I will look at it before I leave here this evening or this afternoon. What I can say is that the project generally is about the construction of the main road. It's not, river training is not part of the grand scheme of things for this particular project. Outside of where we may maybe lethal where we're doing that bridge. If it is that we need to do a bit of training there, then that would be done. But outside of that, you won't find river training. We'll have to do that kind of work as part of our regular capital aid budget. The challenge that we have is that we have so many rivers around, right across Jamaica, that are in need of this kind of attention. We do give them attention, but we do so within the confines of the budget that we are providing. So we get somewhere between $50 or $60 million every year for river training, and sometimes, Ms. Millicent, that cannot do half of a river or half of the work within a particular space. So, but you know, we try as best as we can. Sometimes we get additional funds through other disbursements and we do the same. But what I can promise is that I'll look at it and I'll certainly make my representation, and you having done so this afternoon.
Ms. Blake asked a half of the question that I wanted to ask. I wanted to find out, were there any definite plans to mitigate against the flooding that happens at Cotton Tree when the rain falls currently? When the rain falls, in less than 15 minutes, you could have Cotton Tree impassable. And that is going to be a problem no matter how nice the road is. The solution is linked to the cleaning of those river spaces that she mentioned and the gullies surrounding Cotton Tree. So I'd love to know whether or not you have definitive plans to sort out that particular length of road that is now Cotton Tree. The other question I would want to ask is from the standpoint of labor. How much, if any, of our local labor force will you utilize on the project as they come through the respective districts?
All right, so let me start by saying to you, as it relates to employment, let me explain to you how the works are being done. So the project Tranche 5 is different from the other, Tranche 3 is different from the other two tranches that we executed. In that, in this particular case, the works are being done directly by China Harbour Engineering. The other tranches had subcontractors doing the work. We have ditched that plan because we have experienced too many problems where that arrangement was concerned. So China Harbour is doing the work directly. The employment of persons has nothing to do with NWA. China Harbour has its own method and process that it employs, that it engages as it relates to the employment of persons. NWA, as the government's rep, cannot say to China Harbour, employ Dick, employ Harry, leave out Mary, and take Miss Matty. No. We cannot do that. You understand? And we never get into that kind of a thing, because if we do, we may find ourselves in problems contractually. Alright? So we don't get involved in that kind of thing. Alright? I soon hear your cardinal. I know you have a lot to say. Alright? And so, as it relates to the issue of flooding, a big part of the plan here being executed is to improve the drainage infrastructure, because we know what obtains in certain areas. And so you'll find bigger culverts, more culverts, Albert, the road being lifted in some sections, because in some instances the road is too low, and so you have to lift it, and you may still have water in a space, but to put in maybe equalizing drains to facilitate the easier runoff. So when I spoke earlier about building resilience into the network, those are some of the things that will be done and that we are doing as part of the overall effort to improve the conditions in this space.
Just a few little concerns, and the big man, Mr. Anderson, is here. I was hoping at least we'd get a roadmap to say what will be taking place in each of the respective packages. Like, for example, Prospect to Arcada. What is it we'll be seeing along that corridor? Because you cannot do that package without you do the benching in the Port Morant area. The Port Morant police station is almost in the road now because of that bridge, the breakaway.
Yeah.
It's almost in the road. We'll be losing the station at the next rainfall. At Seaside, whenever it rains, everything is on the road. It's coming down. I cannot see a pretty carpeted road without you make provision for Bowden. Right at Bowden there, whenever it rains, it takes maybe about 12 hours or a day for that water to recede, coming from the Arcada stretch where there is a massive drain there. So without we clean that drain and lift that bridge at Bowden, we're going to for some serious problem. I was hoping, and I'm very disappointed, Steve, we welcome this because it's long outstanding. I was hoping that the Stanley, the consultant to the project, would have some community meetings. Yes. So those of us who live in the respective areas, we are not engineers, but we have the history of the project. Yes. And we can tell you that if you don't come good at Ardley, then all those students going to Happy Grove would be out for days. When that rain hits Golden Grove, the entire Golden Grove is flooded for days, including the police station. That's the point. So I was hoping that we sit with the local constituents and to say, what is the history? So we could tell you that if they don't fix that bridge right at Golden Grove there, right at the gas station, where that bridge, the water goes all the way down to Allen Bay. And if you don't correct that problem, this project will be naught. Right? So you have that coming along the stretch, hardly perennial problem. Whenever it rains, Happy Grove will be out for days. We're thinking of that. Now, Port Morant, we made mention of that. That drain at Lynn Valley goes to the sea, as Justice Blake indicated earlier. If you don't fix that, all will be lost in Port Morant. You see, it must be fixed. That is a bridge there. I heard you said something about the bridge at Fish Cove. It is also an alligator breeding area, which means we have to consciously look at it. There is no direct flow for that bridge that leads to the corner. So when you pass Fish Cove on the right hand side, there is no direct flow to the sea based on how the road is constructed. Right? So that is an issue. That big corner, I noticed they're doing some benching at Lethal there. There is also another concern. That coming off the hill at Duppy River. There is a retaining wall as it going up on the right hand side to Duppy River. Just wondering, where will that flow? What are you going to do with that water? When you get into that main drain on the right hand side to Duppy River, where that water going? Right? So I'm saying, Mr. Shaw, Council, and to Mr. Anderson, it's not too late to have a sit down with the old guys who can say to you, say, no, you have to do that first. Yeah. Sometimes the engineers are not willing to listen. With the greatest of respect, the Chinaman only see the money. And they're not really concerned about the due diligence that should be done. And notice wall going up all over the place. And I'm saying we don't want to get into the madness. The other thing again, which the package is yet to be completed, because there don't seem to be any parallel arrangement with the utility company. The road paved today, NWA have to come in tomorrow because something was out of it. Telephone company come in with fiber optic, which is now in the retreat area. Everything dig up back, we're back to square one again. So I am begging this time, all stakeholders must be on board from day one. Just to ensure we get it right. We have been trying and trying and trying again. What we heard. Boy, you're not telling me that China have a subcontract to another China man.
Yes.
And what about a fish cove out there, so? They tell you that they use some inferior material and the whole road up back again to north. We're begging, we welcome it, we embrace it.
Yes.
But we're just asking, meet with us, the local residents, so we can share some historical data, so we can get it right this time.
We have a lot of information, Cardinal, as it relates to flooding in this space. We have been at this now for a number of years. The CHEC, since CHEC has been started, we have had major flooding right along the corridor. Flooding of historic nature and proportions. So all of those numbers, all of let us say the assumptions, the predictions, all of those things that have been taken into consideration. And that is why I'm saying we have done the design of the road based on certain numbers. No. Does that mean that at the end of the project you will not see flooding again, let us say in Golden Grove? I can't tell you that. Because when I speak to the people, flooding by Golden Grove, flooding in Golden Grove is not something which is new. Right? It's not new. I met an elderly gentleman out there last week, and I actually looked at the Great House, and I noticed how high that building is, because some of it is still there, and the cellar that is beneath. And I was advised that it was built like that for a reason, because it was a dormitory many moons ago, and so flooding used to be experienced. What we are seeking to do is to mitigate the incidence of flooding. We cannot tell you that Golden Grove will no longer flood, because if you get a 1 in 200 type of rainfall, chances are you're going to get flooding. If you get a type of rain that you don't experience, or the amount of rainfall that comes is akin to that which happened in the Far East, you are going to have that kind of, or you may have that kind of flooding being experienced. But so we can plan for extreme weather, but we can only do so to a point, because again, I've said this time and time again, no country in the world builds its infrastructure to mitigate flood events of 1 in 200 and 250, and those are 1 in 100. You build some resilience into some of the things that you do. So when we did, for example, the Yalas Bridge, we did that with full understanding as to what may happen if you have a major rain event happening. It so happened that, funny, before the bridge was built, we had many. since the bridge has been built, we have had none. You understand? But we know how history is, and history tends to repeat itself. So you can bet your bottom dollar that we are going to experience that kind of flooding out in Dallas and elsewhere once more. So we understand the situation. We know, and we're happy that you're interested in what is taking place. And we depend on this kind of interest to ensure that the contractors and ourselves are on our toes to ensure that at the end of the day, that which you're supposed to get, which is a good quality road, is delivered. Albert, I want to say something.
The reason why Stephen is head of communication. Well, I don't want to say anything different because how he communicating is exactly how the process that we follow through and the outcome. I must say though that as an engineer, right, we go by certain rules. One is that we notice that the road is a road improvement. So it's not to make things worse off, and we follow and we make decisions with assumptions. Now that assumptions can change, but definitely the intent. So when you go and you follow the process by doing the reconnaissance, you have environmental impact assessment that also includes hearing what people in the community have to say, the stories that they have to say. That was done leading up to the design. Okay? Like I said, NWA have a lot of work of information. They also inform us, and then we make the best decision using the science of engineering. Now, with respect to what is taking place, now we're doing site clearance. Usually during this time, you might see new things that we never saw before, and then we might get more information. So, Marcus, who's part of our team, he would be offering himself. You guys have anything like today with the rainfall? As a team, we went on the reconnaissance to see any assumptions and anything changed. Maybe some new areas where we see flooding that we never anticipated. So that's an ongoing thing. So like, as I don't want to change anything because how he articulated it is well said. Right, but just going further, it's still an ongoing thing. And one another assumption is the budget constraint. Yeah. As he says, we try to make it resilient, but within the budget. So there's so many things that we can improve on. Basic fundamentals. One is that when we put the new pipes going, and it's a perfect circle, and when you go in, you see no debris there. But we know after 6 months, chances are you're going to see debris. The dynamics might change upstream, downstream. So, but the whole intent is really to improve things.
If you may, Sasha, any specifics to those questions I concerns earlier on? More specifically, the Port Morant station around that corridor. Anything specific in your design?
It's not, well, interesting when you say around that area. So like I said, the whole intent, right, is widening, realignment, and add additional drainage features. What takes place outside of the right of way, there's not much mitigation effort. But like you said, if we increase the drainage capacity, that means supposed to ease congestion, but dynamics might change. All what you just mentioned is taken into consideration when you're doing the design. So the expectations, you're going to see improvement. If we see evidence that it's not going to be the case, then we come and report it and we're going to offer solutions around it.
I'm not sure I'm satisfied.
It's difficult for you to give percent unless we come and show you the drawing.
Yes, I understand that. What I'm saying, those residents at Castle Bush, Chapel Hill, Castle Bush, the police station, Seaside. What we have been seeing is the entire bank being eroded. Right now, I'm telling you, it's just a few little few meters, the Port Morant police station will be in the road. So with all the drain and all the widening, if you don't put in the benching, we will be losing all those persons up on the hill. Okay. So I'm begging you, don't allow us to waste $1.9 billion to do some benching to save the homes up there. I am begging you, for God's sake, let us get it right.
I want to say something.
All right, Carla, I hear you plea. Yeah, I hear your plea. But let me try and say this. What you're suggesting here, and what you're pointing to, what you're pointing to, while, you know, through the project, we are going to be fixing a lot of things. And check to see what it is that we have planned for that particular location. But it sounds to me from what you're saying that even before the SCHEC came along and the project from Prospect to Arcadia, the people who live there have problems. And so the problem isn't one that is connected to the project at the point of making. So it is something, as I said, I have to look at what it is that we have planned for that area. Because standing here this afternoon still, I can tell you that the project is going to be impacting that area one way or the other. And it points to something else, which is we have to look, Deputy Mayor, at where it is. I heard Ms. Millicent earlier, and I'm hearing it from Cardinal just now. You're in the council one time, Cardinal? No. But you never did it? The whole business of planning and where people live, we have to look at it. Yes. Because if we have situations where, as Ms. Millicent says, this area was a flood zone, the swamp or whatever, crocodile place. And then over time, people have moved in. They have built houses. Long, even so, however long they want to, if it is a flood zone, if it flooded in 10 BC, it is likely that it is going to be flooded in 2025. You understand? Because a lot more things are happening. Climate change is real. People are living in spaces upstream, cutting down trees and doing all these kinds of things. And so we have to take responsibility sometimes for ourselves. Because if you really look at it sometimes, I'm going to be very honest with you. A solution might be preferred for $100 million. But what are you trying to say? Property value at 5. Is that value for money? I'll leave that one with you. Yes, sir. Let me hear the lady here. All right. Just a minute. Hold on. Madam.
Let me make it very clear. So all the areas that you have concerned, for all the areas that you have concerned, maybe what we can do, Stephen, is that we will communicate through the NWA all the features for each area that people may have concern and show what we're doing at this point in time.
Excellent.
So, for instance, when you see some of these things and the threat of slope failure, then we have these retaining structures along the road currently that will help to retain. But like I said, all these things mentioned, people upstream doing things that are going to impact on that slope, then these assumptions that we make may change. But generally, when we widen the road, especially against the slope, it then becomes quite unstable and then we strengthen. But for specific areas where you have concern, right, we will identify the areas and through the NWA that allow you to communicate the features that we'll add. So it could be the drainage, retaining structure, etc. All right, thank you.
All right. So I just wanted to deal with the issue of the fiber optics.
Yes, afternoon everybody.
Afternoon.
Alright, I just wanted to address Cardinal's concern about the fiber optics and we're digging again. I want to make it clear that as the contractor in these spaces, we have a lot of different activities, right? So for example, we have pipe lane, HDD pipe, sidewalks, things like that. So, sorry, for example, in the retreat area, we're talking about the invention of the fiber optics would have been laid along that entire corridor, but then it get damaged by different teams working in the space. Because we have 2 layers of asphalt, it is very important that we do repairs at the first layer. So what it's just doing now, I think the first layer when I pass just now is a little bit past the hospital coming this way. So we're in front of that second layer, repairing the ducts, everything, to ensure that when we put that final layer, we don't have to dig it again. So it's not a situation where we put down the final layer, then we dig it up. But as you know how the subcontractors are, you put down the fiber optics, and then the backbone can go there and bust it. And we really want to ensure that the cameras, the high-speed internet works. So at the end of the project, we have to be able to fish through these conduits. We can't have any blockage. I can tell you right now it's costing us $15 million to go back and repair the fiber optics at our cost because of the damages. So as Steve would have said, we would have learned from these errors. No, it costs the contractor because we only get paid once. For China, we only get paid once. So if they get paid and it damaged, you're going to fix it yourself. So it's not to the taxpayers, it's to us. But learning from the mistakes of the irresponsible subs, we know now how we have to operate. So I just want to make it clear. And the project is one with a lot of moving parts because you have water line, as I said, you have a lot of underground, so things will happen. Alright?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Petrona Fletcher Grant. I am living at Seaside, and my home, they came right along. There's an old shop there. I noticed when they dropped the peg the other day, they dropped it right almost at the fence. I am wondering, no one asking, and I'm seeking answers now. What is going to take place? Because if the road is going to come there, when I step off my step, I am going to step directly in the road. Right? So I am wondering what is going to take place there. And I know there must be some plans to do something along that bank there because it keeps coming down. I remember years ago when my mother was alive, she went to parish council and she offered to put half of the money to wall it, to make a stone wall there. Parish council did not come up with their side of the plan. So it would not be possible for her to do it on her own, right? So she left it. It was pushed up. There was a time when this Chinaman, they wouldn't call him shoe shining, come and him take one back on him tear the hole of the bush off of the land. And when he tear off all of that, the land just keep coming down, coming down, coming down. Every time there's a rain, it's rain. Now the rain starts, and I know more of the land is going down.
All right.
Right, so
we have to have a conversation outside because your issue is peculiar to you.
Yes.
So let's just start afterwards. Well, this gentleman has something to say, and then I'll come to you, madam.
Alright, I know you talk about a budget put in place, and you would have a budget for the river at the Cotton Tree area. But the river, when the lady speak about the river, he said sometimes you have to have a special budget or so forth. You understand? What I am saying, prior to that river and the flooding in Cotton Tree, if you don't clear that river, which is causing the problem, it is a river that is causing the problem, you know. And you see, it's a very long river, and the mangrove grow to and from Crossway. Because I go down there and check the problem. The mangrove grow two sides, and the river backed up. Debris, bottle, plastic. And no matter how you fix Cotton Tree, if you don't fix that river, the problem is going to be the same thing. And even if you rise the road in Cotton Tree, what about the resident that live and at the ball ground, water is going to back up on the people's property. So put something in the budget for that section.
I hear you.
Okay. I am Pansy Murphy. In addition to what this gentleman was saying, he's talking about fixing the river. But what about fixing what is going down in the river? And all that is going down is the river is coming from Chapel Hill, Harborhead Road, Port Morant, all of up at this side. Everything run down into that side. Yeah. So you must have to do something to up this side first before you really touch the gullies and the spring. All of those would have to be clear because they're not clean for many years. Those places you done cleaned by Dr. Ferguson when he was MP in this year for this part. Yeah. This gully, especially the one right here, they clean it right down to Cotton Tree, and it's clear. So when the water rain falls and it runs down into that gully, then it run off into Cotton Tree, into those culvert or whatever you call them, and then it run off into the river. So if up here so no clean fuss, you can't do anything to down there, so because the same thing about happen again. The place will flood out again. Right? So you have to look at what is happening on the top here. Harborhead Road, Chapel Hill, Cashew Bush Water, all of them run down into Cotton Tree. My next point is, you were saying, I would say in addition as what you had said, Mr. Stephen, nobody in this community of Port Morant don't deforest anywhere on Seaside Top, Chapel Hill back to the police station. Nobody, no resident. Yeah. It is like that. It is a hill, and when Master got falling rain, it wash it down. So if you fix the road around there, so it will go black. So you now must tell me, what are you going to do to the road when it black around there, so, and then use Harborhead Road and go on to Market Road? Are you going to fix those roads too, along with my road that I live on, Harborhead Road? And right now I would like, if the MP is not here, she dig up one part, make the NWA dig up one part of my gate and just kill me, and me that like that fix like now too. Yes?
Alright. I can't tell you about Harborhead Road because that road sounds like one for the, it's not a main road. It doesn't sound like a main road.
It's a main road.
Which road from where to where? This one here? Yes. Oh. You need to bath, you know. Okay. No, I know this is a main road out here. Yes. But I didn't get it. This is Harborhead Road. This is Harborhead Road? Yes. Oh, I see. Alright. NWA would have dug up your gate to do what?
Some said they were patching holes and they dug out. When we have our meetings in this auditorium, whether it's Monday night, Sunday night, or Thursday night, we have to turn on our light on our phones to walk on this road.
No, man, I'm just trying to understand. I hear you. I mean, we can.
All the holes that you see, most of them that you see along here when you were coming, they were the ones who cut them out, and nothing is being done.
Okay, so they were spared for patching. Okay, all right. No, I understand because I couldn't understand what you were talking about. All right. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Evening, Mr. Shaw.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Rose Shaw.
Rose Shaw.
Yes.
Oh, you are the person?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I know the name.
Okay. I came to this meeting particularly to get clarity.
Yes.
I forgot the gentleman's name over there who spoke, sir. I heard you mentioned that this is a road improvement, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I was told originally that it would be a highway. And it is being talked of about a highway. I don't know whether it's public relations, but I want, when I am talking, I don't spread propaganda. I speak facts when I'm asked. So, clarity is, it's not a road improvement. It's not a highway, it's a road improvement. Now, I would like to ask, this leads me, was there a plan for a highway to St. Thomas?
Plan for a highway to St. Thomas? What do you mean a highway to St. Thomas?
Well, the gentleman said it's a road improvement. I said, the entire plan.
Let me say this. Because we have been through this on a number of occasions.
Well, I am not aware, Mr.
Just allow me. There was a conceptual design many years ago. Conceptual design that spoke to a road from Kingston to Morant. It was a conceptual design. There was never a design done as far as I am aware. It's a concept, meaning you put it on paper to say this is what we'd love to do. Right? Now, that is as far as I'm aware. This project, the S-chip, is, as its name implies, the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project. You can operationalize the concept as much as one wants. The road is being improved from what it is now, which in some instances you get a little less than a full lane. You're getting 2 lanes, you're getting sidewalks, you're getting shoulders in some instances, new drainage features, new bridges, and the like, and some detours, some straightening of the corridor is being done in some sections. So what you're getting is akin to, in large measure, is akin to that which we'd have done on the North Coast. Because would you call what is the road from Ocho to Port Antonio a highway? I'm asked, that's a question.
I'm a technical person.
No, you're not a technical person. What would you call it?
Oh no, the road from where?
Ocho to Port Antonio. No, concept. What would you call it?
What's my concept?
What would you call that road?
Tell me what it is.
No, man. You look like somebody who is very well traveled. Well, I said you look like.
You said from Ocho to Port Antonio?
Yes.
But in my layman term, I would say it's a highway.
Okay. So what we are putting here is akin to that. Similar. So if you classify that as such, then based on your own concept of what it is, then you can call it that. So the point I'm making is, depending on who you speak with, because I've been in discussions where even the east-west toll road, the north-south toll road, persons have argued that they're not highways, because for a highway you need to have 6 lanes.
So the road to what is
I'm just saying,
no.
We call it the North Coast Highway.
Okay.
So from our standpoint, we call it the North Coast Highway. The project is the South Coast Highway Improvement Project.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is how we have conceptualized it. So we call it as it is our highway. It may not be a highway by standard of those persons who travel to North America or Europe and elsewhere. It's the point I'm making. So you can operationalize it.
Yeah, I get your point, but I was just responding to what the gentleman said, that it's a road improvement program, because I hear it in other quarters.
Yes.
That all St. Thomas needs is a good road, not really a highway, because it would not make economic sense. I have written articles on this, so that's why I want to make sure that I have a clear understanding, okay? So that I can, maybe correct, or when I'm asked these questions, I can articulate. So, when I heard he mentioned that it's a road improvement program, that is what spurred my question. Okay? All right. My second question is, when you come around to Lethal, going to Bow, and I want the technical persons to give me the information, because in my layman term, we are destroying what is left of our wetlands. Okay? So, I would like clarity on this particular issue, because I have a passion for wetlands based on my studies. Okay?
I too have a passion for wetlands also.
Yes.
So the design have no intent to disrupt the wetlands. So for the most part, we're going to be on the existing alignment. To improve the circulation, there's a limited amount of drainage from one side to the next. So we're going to improve on that. So you're going to have additional, what Stephen mentioned was equalizers. So that will help to equalize both sides and help to maintain the health of the wetlands. However, during construction, that's where you might have some disruption. And we're going to try our very best to preserve as much and to be safe at the same time. That as people saying there's probably a lot of alligators out there. So that's the intention. We do not have no intention to make things worse. It's really to improve. Okay.
Thank you, most sincerely.
All right. Thank you very much. I believe we have had a very good meeting. I want to thank you for coming out. I think that the one final thing that I want to do, cheese? I call it cheese. We have a presentation that we want to make to, you're making the presentation to the school?
Chairman of the school board.
Chairman of the school board is here. All right, Madam Chair. So, cheese is going to be, the China ham has come bearing gifts. And so, the students, the school being very good, let me say corporate citizens, and having helped us to stage this very important meeting this afternoon, China Harbour has brought for them some gifts, and I'm sure the children will be very happy to receive that which they are going to be getting compliments of China Harbour.
can turn. Alright, 3, 2, 1.
Councillor Smith.
Yes.
And the next member of parliament, Ms. Shaw. Our concern is the distribution of the work which is going on.
That is outside this.
No, I want to.
You know that's a conversation that you should have, and you know who you need to have that with.
Oh, so you're saying it's not here?
No.
All right.
Not here, sir.
Very well.
All right. All right. So with that, I'm going to ask Madam Chairlady, who just received this, to move the vote of thanks. We're going to close. And those persons who need to talk to me afterwards, you can talk to me.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone. We want to thank the NWA for coming here this afternoon. They have supplied us with information that we did not have, and they have made a pledge to make themselves available for those questions that we still have to be answered. And so on behalf of the community of Portmore, and for the gifts from China Harbor, on behalf of Portmore Primary School, we want to say thanks. The community of Portmore welcomes the road improvement. We also have our concerns, and we trust that collaboration and discussions will ensure that the best is done for the community. On behalf of us all, thank you NWA, and NWA thanks the residents for coming. Thank you.
Thank you all.